Remember back in episode 4? When the foundation of the Spire shook, there was an arena match where the Vermission Sage masqueraded as the Harvest in an historical reenactment against some Gnolls. And then a flash, and the idol came swinging in. And as the stalactite from above came crashing down into the center of the arena, the Vermission Sage and an army of Gnolls disappear. You see, in the Spire, there are back doors that lead to the Vermission Way. But the problem is, when you go through a back door for the first time, you don't always know where in the way you are. And while it's easy to get lost in the Spire, you really don't want to be lost here. The Vermission Way is the great experiment that failed. Human retro-engineers invited by the Elfer came to Spire with grand plans to build a mass transit network connecting all of the districts of Spire from the South Docks up to New Heaven. Everyone in between would have free, available, instantaneous travel all through Spire. Spire would become one neighborhood, all close to each other overnight. And some things are too good to be true for a reason. The Vermission Way fell into disrepair. Engineers went missing. Equipment was damaged. People went mad. They started digging into the foundations of Spire and started finding things that should never have been found, ending up in places they should never have been able to reach. And, well, the Spire isn't just a mile-high tower. It's maybe alive, or it's growing, or it's something else, and no one knows why the Vermission Way didn't work, only that it was way over budget, and after they ran out of most of the staff members, and the remainers went crazy and ran off into the Vermission Way, never to be seen again, it was abandoned. And then the Drow, many of which working for the Ministry, found the Vermission Way, found that it connected to lost vaults and libraries and access to histories and knowledge not available anywhere else. And so the Vermission Sages were born. And they are Drow who navigate through the twisting non-Euclidean subway systems of unfinished rail stations, connecting them to back doors all through Spire, collecting lost, forgotten knowledge and holding on to it for a day when the Drow will be ready to learn who they really are. And that's where we return to the Vermission Way, an empty subway tunnel, rails stretching out in either direction, and a green flash of light. Cheers of roaring crowds, the sounds of metal on flesh and combat and explosion, more screams, someone yelling, "Jump!" And 12, 13, 14 bodies all come tumbling through the white light into the tunnel as rocks come crashing in behind them, explosions and the sounds of dirt and crushing, and then pitch black. And someone lights a match. And Nharus and our idol Xyrie and 12 escaped Gnoll gladiators led by one Gnoll gladiator, Bredix, standing in the tunnel of the Vermission Way, still smelling like Derelictus, the smoke of Red Row following in behind you, the door you came through destroyed. And it's right where we left off, is where we're picking up. Welcome back. Nharus, the Gnolls, the sense of gravity, it throws them up. People are throwing up on the sides. There's one that's kind of banging his head against the wall, and Bredix calms them down and starts gathering them together. And then one's like, "Where are we?" And when the light gets lit, and a match goes up, and someone lights a candle that they had in a pocket, and it lights the green tiled walls, and you see the rails, and they realize immediately where they are, and one of them is, no, we can't be in this foolish labyrinth, no. Xyrie, how are you doing? You held on to your wits when you came through the wall?
Because I am an artist, because I'm used to the unknown, I was able to hold it together, but the light certainly helped.
Yes.
Having a light source, having something to focus on, and seeing that everybody is relatively intact helps me to center myself.
Bredix looks to you going, all right, Fancy Pants, this was all your plan. Where are we going now?
Well, before we move, I'd like to set this arm as his arm sort of dangles uselessly at his side.
I can help you with that.
And Bredix does like audibly sigh, like, oh yeah, bag baby. So Xyrie, Nharus, while reaching out for one of the rocks to open up the trap door, one of those gladiators stepped on your arm, broke it. The bone is sticking through the skin. It's deformed. It's swelling. It hurts a lot. It's not good. And on top of it, regardless what happens, unless you find serious magical medical assistance, your arm will be broken for the next 4 weeks.
Yep.
So that's going to be presumably the rest of the campaign.
Yep.
But Xyrie, you wanted to help out?
I want to help out, but I do have a question first.
Yes?
Do you want the bones back in? Because if you look at it from many ways, the way that it sticks through, it is like where we are now. It is your lifeblood coming through to the surface. It would be a fantastic piece.
One of the gnolls is like, what are you going on about? Fix the bloody arm already!
And as I say that, I actually pull the arm in a way that I can reset.
All right, roll fix. I'm going to say only the 2 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
5.
Oh boy.
Better than it was.
Yeah.
No.
Sure.
Well, 5 isn't better than it was. 5's a failure.
Oh boy.
5's a taking stress. You bungle this. You just yank on the arm. That doesn't set it. That's just yanking on a broken arm. And you feel, if it was a fracture, now you just feel splintering and the pain is intense. Roll a d6.
Okay. That's a 3.
And you, Xyrie, roll me a d6. You're taking d3 to your mind.
3.
Because I think the Vermission Way is having its effect on you. It's you're not acting rational right now. How much did you roll?
3 as well.
You rolled 3 as well? Okay. Both of you. I got to see if you're suffering from fallout. Nharus, you're not. You're fine. Xyrie, are you suffering fallout? Nope, you're okay. Bredix is like, ay. And she grabs your arm. She pushes you out of the way, going, what's the matter with you, you butcher? You'll be lucky if you lose the arm at this point. And calls one of the other gnolls over, helps hold you down. Someone gets like a piece of like a wooden button from one of their shirts and says, bite down on this. And then she properly hear like a snap and a pop. And rips a sleeve off, and they don't have anything right now to make a splint, but they start wrapping your arm as tight as they can just to hold everything in place, and they fashion a crude sling, and being like, don't move it, don't do anything, and don't let that one near you.
Noted.
And then as soon as that's done, Bredix looks down the twisting corridor, and everyone kind of gets a little quiet, because off in the distance you can just hear like the sounds of rushing air, but it also sounds like metal squealing and just like that kind of like metallic screaming kind of noise and machinery just kind of echoing like a banshee just moving its in. And the gnolls are again like, what hell have you taken us into?
Nharus is just, not now. We need to go this way. Rapidly.
And at this point, they're all like, just get the F out of here. Like, they're for it. What's your plan, Nharus? You came through the back door. This was easier to come this way to get to Middle City than to take them through here, than to take them through traditional methods. This is your territory. This is your home.
Yep.
This twisting nightmare of interconnected passageways. I've never been to the Vermission Way. So, how are you? What's your plan, man?
Well, I think there's a few local landmarks that I remember mostly kind of off the top of my head that will get us to Middle City at the very least.
Yeah, there are some like signage put up onto the walls too of like the location of stations, and you see one for Candlelight Station, and you see another one for Sanders Way, and you see a few others where the names have like rusted away or been burned off. One of them looks like it was for Twilight Station, but it's been graffitied and changed over with like red ink. I hope that's ink. Changing some of the words around into Twilight's End.
I learned very quickly not to go that way.
Yeah.
We're not going that direction.
And the Candlelight Station one actually has a number of small little tea light candles that have melted down and burnt out. But some people that come by to make a pilgrim, a dare to Candlelight Station, you go there and you light a candle at the center of the square and leave. 1 in 20 never return. There are things in the Vermission Way that are not sages. Things that have gotten trapped and thrown in here and wandered, and maybe they were drow at some point, but you spend enough time down here and you're not drow anymore. And so you can hear, it sounds like stones falling, like pebbles falling downstairs, but it could also be skittering. It could be creatures in the ceilings moving around like rats in the walls. And this whole place is there's never silence. It's always a noise of some kind, dripping or rumbling or something, and the ground vibrates, but not consistently. Like something's passing underneath or overhead or just beside you.
Nharus, can you give us very detailed instructions of what we are going to do and maybe what we'll encounter on the way? I'm feeling uneasy.
Well, there's a limit to how detailed I can get. It does occasionally change, as the Vermission is wont to do.
You brought us here. What's next?
Well, there's a bit of a shortcut I know over this bridge. There's a bit of a chasm. Don't look down. Whatever you do, don't look down.
Roll for me, investigate and occult.
Okay. 10.
Because you have mental directory.
Yes, that's
and
true.
You rolled a 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to tell you how you get out of the Vermission Way, but I can tell you that the most direct way back to Middle City will be through Candlelight Station.
Oh boy.
Which, good news, this bridge that you're taking them across has candles lit on the ropes at bits. They're kind of already lit for you. The wax is kind of moving down, and the Gnolls have got, they grab a couple candles for themselves, and so there's more light in your group now going around, and they're huddling close. They're just going to move as a unit, and they're staying close to Breddix, who's staying close to you, who's staying close to Xyrie, and you're making your way across the bridge. A 10, I'm not going to throw anything your way. The bridge seems to go over a chasm of like the tunnel came through and then the ground gave out and there's things shoring up, and then this was built. This looks like it was built more recently than even the tunnel was dug, and there's some ropes, and it looks like a place where people had rested or eaten. There's trash and plates and things lying around. It's very much like underneath an overpass kind of a look, right? And it smells like urine and things. And as you move, you get to the other side, and I wonder, because move is a move. Pursue. I think, because both of you do have a cult, I would ask for a pursue plus a cult, which neither of you have pursue.
Correct.
So just Each of you give me 3 dice.
3? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. That is 3 10s.
Wow.
3 10s.
Yeah.
You get to save the Gnolls. So you're coming across the bridge and you're all going around, and at some point the rope begins to go, it twines out.
Oh no.
But you're at the back of the group and you see what's going on. How do you pull it off? I'll give this to you. 3 frickin' 10s? Holy smokes. That means you get, that's the only time we count extra dice.
Right.
Is extra 10s. So you save yourself. You save them. I don't need extra follow-up rolls. They start screaming, and you Deus Ex Machina something. What happens?
Grab a rope. He just yelled, like, grab a rope! So everyone grab a rope,
And
quick!
they're like, what rope? And then you point out that just outside the hanging beside all the bridge are a bunch of other ropes just dangling from the ceiling, and they didn't see it. It was just outside the candlelight, and you toss a candle out into
Just
the
throw it
chasm,
out.
and it lights up like spider silk. This thin little strands all hanging out there, and they're like, ah! They jump and they're grabbing, and they're all kind of swinging and holding on. Some are like 2 to a rope, some was by themselves, and then they're like, all right. And Bredix is like, swing, and they start moving and Tarzaning themselves across the ropes.
I like the idea. So then the ropes actually pull them up, and there's a second bridge
Oh.
above us that's identical to the bridge before. It's like exactly
same
the
candles,
everything's
same
the same
plate, same sign, and it really puts them up, and it just layers them down, and they're like, they scramble to the edge of the bridge, back on solid ground, back on the rails, and it's like Donkey Kong Country. The rails just go off the end, and they get to the other end, and they're breathing. They're like, get us out of here! What's going on? And they're afraid. People don't belong here.
Nope.
So, bringing us out through the tunnels, you see the signs to Candlelight Station, and you grab a candle, and
Everyone grab a candle.
and they're holding a candle like it's their soul, right? And if this thing goes out, they snuff out, right? They're playing, was it 16 candles?
16 candles, yeah.
They're playing that now for real. And they get and you get to the edge of Candlelight Station. The tunnel comes out to the station. You see the platform, and you see it's like an old ironwork benches and old train station roof and everything, all built into a bigger domed ceiling with it's hard to see in the darkness, but you can, with your candlelights, it just kind of makes out the outline of a big hanging chandelier or iron wrought, and it would have been very ornate and beautiful if this place had ever been in operation. And you see the signs of Candlelight Station, but in disrepair and fallen down, and the feeling like you're being watched as you come through. Don't spend too long here, but not far, just on the other side here. You get off the tracks, you get to the stairs, you might be able to find your way back to a vault. And people, and you see there in the center of the square, just beyond the platform, a fountain, the center square of Candlelight Station, with little candles, kind of like you'd see at a church, all in different stages of light, glowing very, very softly, like a vigil, underneath a fountain that's not running, but green from rust. It looks like a winged. Well, it's not an arachnid. It's not a moth. It's very twisted, and it's standing over the fountain with the candles all around it, and the gnolls are like, "Is this better? Where to now?
This way. Come. No, let's not dawdle.
This is not normal.
Is this?
That's twisted.
Only slightly. I think it's rather beautiful, actually.
Does anyone want to investigate the
Statue?
area? The statue?
I want to
the
investigate
station?
the statue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's an art form I have not seen,
Mm-hmm.
or a something I've not seen. So I want to, I'm going to start.
Investigate occult. Easy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to start from the feet up.
You've got to investigate, right?
Yeah.
Or no, you don't.
No, Xyrie doesn't.
Okay.
No.
You have, but you do have occult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
10.
You start making your way towards the fountain and the statue hanging over it. And with your 10, you see its head turn and following you. But it's so still that the gnolls in front of you, walking up to the candle, don't notice it moving, kind of like the way a praying mantis moves very, very slowly right before it's to strike.
Back up now.
How do you, the gnolls are looking over and going like, back out of what? As they turn to you, backing
Run.
away from the sound of the screaming from the railway. And like that sound that's still playing out of the place. They want to get to the other side. It's just up the stairs, right? We just get out of here. That's where we're supposed to be going.
I scream, to me.
That sounds like a compel. With your occult, you're rolling that in as well, because that's the domain we're in.
6.
Oh boy.
Its eyes, you see on the statue, its eyes open up, and it catches the candle lights underneath, and it's 4 white glowing eyes underneath this green motley skin. There's moss on it, but it's been standing there for so long, it's like the lichen has grown over it. But it's not a statue. And as it moves and its carapace kind of creaks underneath the movement, the gnolls don't. A 6 is a success at a cost. So you succeed in getting the gnolls to back away, but at a cost of drawing the attention of the creature, of the terror of Candlegate Station. But I wasn't calling it Candlegate, I was calling it Candleway, wasn't I?
Candlelight.
Candlelight. So we'll be calling it Candlelight then, but it's called Candlegate in the book. And the creature moves and its eyes blink each individually, clink, 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 clink. And when you go to me, its arms come out and its tail curls up from like inside the fountain and up around it, and it springs over the gnolls
To me.
and they throw their candles to the ground and go and dive.
No.
And it leaps at you and pins you down to the ground. Its feet, 2 clawed feet, clutching in like talons into your chest as you're throwing your back to the ground, and it looks down on you, and it's long like a fly. It's got like this nose thing, and its mouth kind of opens up in 4 segments. You just hear like and you can like the sticky smell and the saliva starting to drip down, but even in all the light, all you can see are its eyes catching and refracting all the very little light all around the room. Nharus, my God, this is your. What did you take us to?
Well, Candlelight Station, of course.
Yeah.
It's a lovely, lovely spot for a vacation.
Bredix, they have their weapons from the arena, and all you hear is Bredix go, "What the hell is that thing?" I'm looking to you as the expert.
It's bad. Just hit it. He actually goes to grab a candle with his good arm and try and wave it in the eyes to see if he can blind it. Maybe a little.
Oh, that's really clever. I will let you roll 3 dice.
Okay.
And roll a 4th one to represent kind of like your bond with the gnolls, because you're also ordering them in
to like
to
help
fight.
out. I think 7 is the
A
highest.
7? Oh, this creature doesn't hurt you, Xyrie. It terrifies you. You are going to suffer a minor fallout of the mind.
Yeah.
Shaken. You can't focus on what you're doing. You may not gain dice from domains until you calm down. In here, you only get occult. You will lose domain dice until you calm down. You're like you're finally panicking.
Yep.
You can't focus on what you are doing. I wouldn't be able to either. You may not gain any dice from domains until you take time to calm down. So even after we're running and even after we're doing, you need a moment.
Yes.
And until that moment happens and we define it, you have lost all access to domain dice until then, because you can't you can't stop your hands from shaking. This creature is on you. No, the thing is almost eating him. Currently, you haven't saved him yet.
Yep.
So meanwhile, Bredix, what are we doing? And you say, just attack! And you're throwing light at him.
Yeah.
You've got things on you too. You've got candles and matches. You could light the whole matchbox, right? If you needed to like create that like phosphorus, right? If that's what you're looking for. Like there's you can be inventive like that.
The brightest is what I'm going for.
So you rolled a 7?
Yes.
That's the highest?
So that's success at a cost, right?
Success at a cost. So in this case, the cost is actually the Gnoll suffering stress damage.
Right.
They have their own track as well, and there's a whole other Fallout track for bonds.
Ooh. Wow.
So they suffer depleted, and they go, get at it! And they leap at it with their arena weapons, and this thing's tail starts whipping around, and its hand starts going, and you see Bredix throwing. Like, it grabs it and just throws. And it's all, like, its 4 eyes seem to be tracking everything, and it's moving its head around like a fly. And as the Gnolls try to run at it, one by one, they're all knocked and shaken. And the others are, like, some of them were a little injured from the fight, didn't all have their weapons, or lost it when they jumped on the rope. And they're thrown back. And in fact, 2 of them, you see blood as it cuts into them. And you see its nails are sharp, thin. It's kind of like Pierce, actually, well, guy, and it's going through, and now this, and all the while, Xyrie, on your chest, the talons are clawing into your chest, and it's gripping in, and it's not going to let go of its prize. And so, you were doing something with the light?
Yes, I was trying to create as big a light source as possible to blind it to what's going on, because it seems to work with its eyes.
And so as the Gnolls drop down, that's the distraction you needed to go through your pack and find it, and you get a box of matches, all of them. You grab a fistful of them, and you light them all at once. And all the matches go whoosh, like a big flash of light, just as you throw the matchbox at the creature, and all of its eyes, you see it like shrink, because its eyes were open like it's hunting prey, and it took all of that light from dark into bright at once, and it just screeches this high sound that you could almost swear that chandelier above you is rattling, and like the vision is kind of burned into all of your eyesights now too, because like everything in the room just flashbanged.
Yeah.
And it screeches, and it lets go of your chest, and it jumps away, and it leaps up on top of the roof of the station that you came under, that was over by the train stacks, and you hear it clatter, 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 and it retreats into a darkness, and then it screams again like the xenomorph, just and it's echoing everywhere, and this would be the time to run.
Yep. I don't think I have to tell you all to run.
No, you have to tell me.
That's a pursue roll.
Yeah.
And you don't get your domains.
Oh, boy.
And you don't have pursue, but you have a cult.
I have a cult.
But the Gnolls are, they're scattering and freaking out. So, you don't get a whole lot here. Each of you roll me 2 dice.
Okay.
No, you only get 1 dice, Xyrie.
Oh, no. 9.
9 as well.
The fates are on your side. Bredix grabs some of them up and like, get on your feet, keep going, don't stop. And they start running up the stairs past the thing as you hear this screech. And something's coming behind you, and you're going, but you rolled a 9. And so as Xyrie's shaking, take a trip on the step, Nharus pick them up and lift them going, and you've got your other arms broken. And you both carry yourselves up to the door as Bredix is like, come on, get a move on, as they're up to some metal gate, and just as you come past, they slam the gate and shut it down just as this creature hits the metal, and its hands coming through, and then rattle, and it moves around, and everyone's just like backing away like the velociraptors on the other side. And when it realizes it can't get through, it gives another scream and it just jumps away to go wait for something else a little bit easier to reach. And when you look around, you see that, some of the gnolls have been hurt. They're bleeding, they're scratched. Some of them have lost their weapons along the way. And Bredix comes up and hits your good arm with a fist, going, you call this a shortcut?
Well, it is faster. I don't see any city guards.
Well,
he says, sweating visibly.
I don't see any city guards. He's a joker, is this one. Where? You're saying through the breath. Where next?
No, we're almost there. Although, hold us for a second, and he pulls a map out of his pocket, and just, because he only has one good arm, and a pencil, and just makes a little X on a spot in the map, noting that the gate is now closed. Don't go that way.
And from here, on the other side of Candleway, you know the path.
Yeah.
And you're able to bring them into the vault, the room that we met before with Donald. And you open up a door, you bring them into the room, you light the lanterns, and have a sit on a couch. Don't drink the water. Don't touch anything.
Don't read the books. Whatever you do, don't read the books.
I need something. I need something to focus on.
Do you have a drink for Xyrie?
Actually, there's this really good whiskey. I think there might be some left.
Can you, this is rolling against your silver for your resources.
Sure.
So if you fail, you'll have it, but it'll be the last
drop.
And you'll be out of stuff.
All right. Ooh, that's not good. 3 is my highest number.
Oh, okay. So then roll me a d6 against your silver.
Okay. Also a 3.
Okay. You've got there's some stuff here in the vault. There's some drinks, but you're running low, and you give this to Xyrie. You don't have. You're out of supplies in here. Like, you got your dead drops that you got to help out, but between all the visitors you've been having and the gnolls start going through and finding stuff to patch themselves up. You would suffer fallout from this normally, but I don't want to slow things down too much. But it's going to, for you to draw from more resources from your vault, you're going to have to go out and
do something.
Like that's going to be a mission in itself, to find help or supplies or a loner. It's you're looking around and realizing that between when all this started, like you're getting the most beaten up out of everybody.
Yeah.
And no one's looking after you, and they're all expecting you to look after them. And anyway, there's a moment of respite as they get here, and they start lighting, some of the lanterns, and the room takes on a nice warmth. There's a fireplace probably that comes up, and it's green fire because fine. And while you're taking that drink, Xyrie, you're no longer shaken. You'll have access to your domains again. And then Bredix, having looked after her people, comes up to you and says, all right, you've got us here. This is presuming this is all part of your grand plan. You've hired us. What's the plan? Because we've had a talk. And we're leaving Spire. First chance we get.
I see.
We know that there's rookeries, megacorvids, sky whales, anything. We get to the edge of the tower, we find the next ship out of here, we steal it, and we go. Because everyone in this tower wants us dead or in prison.
That's
and
reasonable.
we have to get back home, and we have to leave. So you got us out, and we owe you, and we're thankful, and I promised you that I'd help, and you hired me for a job, and I'm an old my word. But then that's it, and we leave.
That's fair.
So what the hell are we doing?
We have some prisoners to release, I believe.
Oh, more prisoners. All right, well, you have a type.
It has been said. Currently, the Harvest has a number of dark elves in his care.
And one of the other gnolls is going, what's this about the Harvest? We're not going up against that maniac, are we?
If you don't feel up to it, then we don't have to attack him directly, I suppose. There are other ways, but there are people that are on his slate of execution, shall we say, and we'd rather they didn't end up there.
We can create another distraction.
We're very good at that.
So, Fancy Pants, what's the job?
Well, we need to do some recon first, but our plan eventually is to free some prisoners. But we need to know where we're going, we need to know the lay of the land, and a lot might have changed since our descent into the Vermission.
Well, if you don't mind, we're just going to stay here then. We're going to be your new roommates, Fancy Pants. Hope you don't mind us doing a little bit of redecorating, though. I gotta say this, and a few of the other gnolls start looking around going like, yeah, we could clear off this bookshelf here and turn it into a nice bunk, and I call over by the desk, and they start pulling pillows off of the couch and tipping things in, and going like, it's real cold in here. What can we burn for the fire? And you've got like again a dozen gnolls plus Braddock's,
right?
Who then look around going like, we're living with you now, and you open that door, we'll go through it, but you just make sure that door is going in the right direction.
Don't touch the record player.
Or read the books.
Or read the books. Don't read the books.
Just as one of the gnolls has got like a finger going like, what, this one? This record player?
Yes, that one. You will not like what happens if you touch that record player.
I didn't want to touch it anyways. And they keep kind of looking at it like the don't whiz on the electric fence. And they're like, don't push that red button. Don't push that panic button. And they keep looking at it. And they're like, don't even do it, man. Like, you're just an NPC. Don't cause any more trouble. We'll leave this here. We have, I think, one more little adventure with the Gnolls to go. Mm-hmm. And you're going to stick around for one more episode. So next week, we're actually going to do a proper sequel in this two-parter. As we've made it through the Vermission Way, and now we return to Middle City. You have your plan was to bring a group of gnolls or a little backup, some thugs or something, kick the tires, light some fires into Middle City. Next week, we'll jump into Middle City and we'll see what's going on. For now, I've been your Game Master, Justin Ecock, with my idol, who honestly more a victim than a teammate this week, but thanks for letting me just jump monsters on you, Xyrie.
I am Velvet, and I deserved it.
And you will have more to do when we get back into
my domain,
society, and spending time away from society. A little intermission, as it were, between here and there. Our Vermission sage, Nharus.
As played by Sean. I love going on adventures with you all.
And until we meet again here on the Spire, be good to each other. Bye. The Terrible Warriors will return with another chapter with our sage and idol as they arrive back into Middle City. But are they ready for what waits for them on the other side of that door? Follow us on Twitter at Dice Warriors, where you can stay up to date with our admittedly changing schedule. Episode 7 is the last one we have had recorded since before we all started separating ourselves from one another. So there are plans to return to Spire, but we might do some other things in the interim while we figure things out. If you'd like to support the show, consider leaving a review or 5 stars on iTunes. Yeah, go for it. And join us on our Discord channel. You can hang out with us, and I'm actually still running games for players if they would like to join in on that. We do have a Patreon page at patreon.com/terriblewarriors, but for the time being, we're not charging anyone. You can sign up and you'll get charged when you do sign up for the first time, but the monthly payments are on pause until we get this show back on the tracks. And of course, The Spire is published by Rowan, Rook, and Decard, and you can go to the show notes, find a link to that game, and buy it. There are a number of expansions already out that go deeper into the world of Spire, including a whole book of adventures and like one-shot materials ready to go. So check them out and let them know the Terrible Warriors sent you. And we will meet again as we kick the doors down to Middle City and let the Harvest know we're coming for him. Right here on the Terrible Warriors.